All right, so part 7 of Project Control mini-series, and now I'm going to talk about baseline management. As we know, baseline is basically the approved the approved plan of the integrated scope, schedule, and cost for the project work against which our execution is compared to measure and manage perform. So this PMB or performance measurement baseline includes contingency reserve but excludes management reserve, and I'm going to talk a bit about that later on. So what we have here basically is the original plan to which we're going to be compare ourselves to. Now, if we said that we spend $1,000, for example, for a specific phase, and then we end up spending $2,000, then that means we underperformed compared to our baseline plan. And this indeed can be dangerous because, remember, my opinion is the following, and that opinion is that if you have a project, okay, it's always better to give a higher estimate than what you think it's going to be to your client, because if he accepts that higher estimate, let's imagine that you're expecting to spend, let's say, $20,000 in a project, and you say to the customer, my plan, the expectation of this project is, let's imagine, $25,000. So you give it a 25% markup. Okay, what would happen here if the customer accepts? Perfect. And then if you only spend 20,000, then let's imagine you only spend, let's imagine 23,000, then your customer is going to be happy because he saved 2,000. All right. But on the other hand, the opposite. Okay, if we had the opposite situation where I told the customer, sorry, that the price or that my budget was 20,000 and I end up spending 23,000, now the same value, it means something completely different. And now my customer is not going to be pleased. Okay, so remember one thing is that this original plan we do is a project plan is integrated. That means we have the three main components there. We're going to be comparing our performance to scope, to schedule, and to resources. And normally, remember that out of the three sides of the triangle, out of the three things, typically we sacrifice one of them, and we tend to focus more on two of them. So normally one of the sides of the triangle is more compromised to compensate for the other two. For example, you might decide to sacrifice schedule in order to do a better budget and a better work, for example. So in terms of controls, there are five major types of controls definitions here that I would like to emphasize before we move on. Number one, project plan. This is how much progress. The project plan is the original plan that we created, and basically this dictates how much progress should have been made up until that point. Okay. Project status, on the other hand, determines how much progress has actually been made. The status report, sorry, that basically means that it's how much we have actually made, the reality. Okay. Project forecast determines what will take for the project to be completed in the future. All right, so what will take from now on, how much more it will take to complete that project. Risk updates determines the risks that might affect achievements of the forecast. In other words, risks not associated directly with the project, but risks that affect the forecast, that affect my predictions. And finally, change requests, which is changes that are necessary in order to be able to complete the project. Okay, so this is some terms that I need you to know before we move on. Now, there's going to be three different types of baseline. The first one is called a scope baseline. So this is the approved version of a scope statement, work breakdown structure dictionary that can be changed only through formal change control processes that I described in another video. And it's the work description that it's going to be used in order as the basis of my comparison, as the basis of the comparison of the work that I do. Schedule baseline is similar. It's the approved version of schedule model that can be changed only for formal change control procedures and is used as a base of comparison to actual results. So here we're talking more about the milestones and the achievables that we have regarding the project, and my performance is going to be measured against those deadlines that I gave in my original plan. Cost baseline is the approved version of the time phase project budget, excluding any management reserves, okay, which can be changed only through formal change control procedures and is used as a basis of comparison to actual results. In other words, it's the description of how much money I expected to spend on a specific project, and then or in every phase, and then I'm gonna compare my actual spending to that original plan. So summarize, indeed, baseline planning is something that is extremely important because it's the basis that determines your performance. If you have a baseline plan that is more realistic, then typically you can get a better performance output at the end. But if you try to be too optimistic on your plan, it might affect later on your performance. At the end of the day, no baseline provision is going to be perfect because there's always things that will happen that we did not predict, positive or negative. Okay, and therefore it's something we have to be careful about. All right, and this is the video about baseline planning. Hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on the next video.